In this video, we're going to talk about using the COUNTIF, the SUMIFF, and the AVERAGEIF to do a variety of summaries. If we look over on the database, you can see that this is a art museum, and we have a variety of fields. Those are the columns. We have art ID, artist, title, etc. We're going to be working with really these columns here. When we create a summary using the COUNTIF or the SUMIFF, we have to choose a range. And you can use either the swipe and select, or you can name your ranges. And I have named the ranges here. So you can see that there's category, condition, location, and appraised value. Those just make it a little easier to select our ranges. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to count based on a criteria, and that's what the COUNTIF will do. So we're going to count if all of those categories, as we look at the category list, we have painting and sculpture and textile. We want to count the number of paintings. So in K4, we'll type in equal count, helps if I spell it right, COUNTIF. And there are two parts to the COUNTIF. You have the range and you have the criteria. The range is where are we going to look for the criteria. So the range will be category. And you will see that by naming these ranges, it's easier. There's 115 different art pieces that this art museum has, and it's just easier to use the range name. It's not required, but it's very helpful. So I'll use tab, and then comma, and then the criteria, we are going to enter in quotes painting, and close quotes, and we will close the function. And once I hit enter, you will see that we have 57 57 paintings in our category. So that's one way of doing the criteria. A second way, we'll do this in K5, so this is equal COUNTIF. And this range is going to be their condition. If you look, the condition has excellent, good, and if we scroll down, we have fair, and somewhere down here we have poor. So the range, again, is what we are going to be looking in. We're going to be looking in condition. We'll hit the tab to accept that, comma. Now in the previous example, I just typed in painting, and that's okay, but it's easier if you can to actually have a cell reference. I'm going to just click on J5. Both work, but I think you will find that by selecting a range, that's easier. We'll see in a moment how we can actually modify that. So I'll just close that. Then I'll hit enter. And we have 18 pieces of art that have a good condition. So by using the second method where I actually just select J5, I can click on that cell and I could type in excellent. I want to get rid of the rest of that, so we'll just hit enter. And you'll see that there are 85 pieces of art that have excellent condition. We could look at poor. We have 5. Now, one of the things you want to be careful of is spelling. If I spell poor wrong, let's say I use the verb, and I hit enter, it's not going to give me an error. It's going to tell me it didn't find any. And that might be legitimate. Later on, you may add, obviously not this particular one, but let's say we didn't have any pieces of art that we considered to have a poor quality. So I want to put this back to good. So that's the simple COUNTIF. COUNTIF has two parts, the range and the criteria. The next example, which is in K6, we're going to use multiple criteria. And so we want to find how many of our artwork is of excellent quality and currently reside in the courtyard. So we'll type in equal COUNTIF, go down to the COUNTIF with the S, that's plural, and you can see once I hit the tab key that the COUNTIF S has a variety of arguments. It has criteria range 1 and then the criteria. And then once we enter those two, then we'll have an option for criteria 2 and criteria 3. So in this one, the criteria range is going to be condition. So that's the place on the database, on the spreadsheet, where it's going to search for excellent. So we will tab and hit comma. Now in this example, I put excellent and courtyard in one cell. So I'm limited to actually typing in excellent. Make sure you use double quotes and you put the comma outside of the quotes. I could have had multiple cells where I have excellent and courtyard, then I could make changes, but I didn't design this to do that. So you'll notice that once I hit the comma, I now have the criteria range 2 along with criteria 2. You notice their bracket. So you could actually treat a COUNTIF with an S as a COUNTIF with just one criteria. So we're going to choose a second range, and this is going to be location. And that is going to be the courtyard. Again, it's important to spell it correctly. Now I'm going to hit the comma to assume that we're going to do a third one. And if we wanted to, we could do where the category is, let's say, sculpture. But we're just going to stick with 2 right now. And we'll hit close the parenthesis, and we will hit enter, and we have 5. Now, the thing to remember, all of the multiple criteria is COUNTIF with an S, and later when we do the sum and the average, if we're using the plural, these are, in essence, the criteria is using the and. So each have to be present. So if we look, we have excellent. Notice that there are some that are in the East Pavilion. Those don't get counted. The only one that gets counted is this. And we continue down. There's another one right here. So there are 5 pieces of art that are of excellent condition and are located in the courtyard. So that is the COUNTIF and the COUNTIF with an S. The SUMIFF is similar to the COUNTIF. It's going to search for particular items, and then it's going to sum a value. And in this instance, we have appraised value. So in L4, we'll type in equal, and we're going to do SUMIFF. And the range is going to be, again, what we're looking for. So this is going to be category. So we'll type in category. And then the criteria, I'm just going to select J4, easier than typing. Note, you don't have to worry about any double quotes if you're using the cell reference. And now, oops, that's a comma. Now you'll see that it says the sum range. If your the range, the criteria range, if we use the COUNTIF idea, the range, if that was a value, then it would just add those up. But we want it to add up appraised value. Spell it right. And then we can hit enter. So in this example, all of the paintings, if we were to add up all of the appraised values, the sum of those is 679,639. So what's neat about using the SUMIFF or the summaries is if we then go and change a value, I'm going to change this to 40,000, and I hit enter, you'll see that the sum has also changed. I'm going to put that back so that we are consistent with what we're working on. We can do another one. So equal SUMIFF. This time we want to find out all of the pieces of art that have a good condition that, and we want to find out what their, calculate their appraised value. So the range in this instance will be condition. The criteria, again, is what are we looking for? We're looking for good. So we'll just click on J5, comma. And then the sum range is what do we want to actually add up? And that'll be appraised value. Now, in these examples, I name these ranges. It works easier that way. That is not a requirement. If you wanted to just swipe out or provide the range, you could do that as well. But I think you'll find using range names makes it so much easier. So I'll hit enter, and we have $84,569 invested or appraised value for our good. So finally, just like we did with COUNTIF, we can actually have SUMIFF plural. So that's equal SUMIFFs. And this flips around the order of the arguments. It's going to start with the sum range. So what am I actually going to sum? And that'll be appraised value. And then we work with the criteria range 1 and the criteria. So the criteria range is, again, what we're looking for. In this example, it will be condition, because we want to find all of the excellents. And then we can type in excellent. Upper and lower case doesn't matter. I'm just typing it in with a capital E. Again, as we did with the COUNTIFs with an S, we actually have to type in the criteria name as opposed to selecting a cell, because I put them all in one cell. So now we're at the comma. So now you'll see we're at the criteria range 2. So it's the second criteria. So that will be, let's see, we're doing courtyard, so that's location. And type in courtyard. And then you can continue with a third or fourth or fifth of these criteria. And we'll close this out and we'll hit enter. And we have $203,500 that the art that is both of excellent condition and is in the courtyard. Now the average if is created the same